So, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Talking Stick Show. So, I have a special guest with me this morning. Welcome, Arachai. Hello, brother.
Blessings, namaste, brother. Good to be
Bless.
here.
Nice to see you, man. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, bro. Yeah, we've had someone pass away in the family this morning, so it was a bit of a something to wake up to. But you know, we've got to keep going on this journey, haven't we? And just we've got to appreciate all that they lived for, you know. So that's what I'm doing this morning. A bit of meditation, you
Oh,
know.
bless you. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear about that. Yeah, I had a close member just pass away. My father died last
Oh.
not last summer, end of summer last year. So it's one of those, isn't it? It's a very unknown life at the moment. Sometimes you just don't know what's coming forward, and these lessons which are presented for you. So, would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and a bit of your background then?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm Arachai. I was born in England. Then we moved to Thailand, where my dad is from, where half of my family lives. And then lived in the village there. My uncle's a monk, and just a really quiet village in the northeast of Thailand. And then I came back to England, to Hull, and lived here until I was about 19, and then the last 7 years or so I've been traveling the world, and it's my first winter back for about 7 years, so I'm just taking it all in, just trying different experiences out, so yeah, I'm here
Uh,
now, and I'm sharing my music and my jewelry with England at the moment, so yeah, feeling
Outstanding.
blessed.
So your journey. So how have you got into? So what you're doing now? How did you come into doing that? What was a bit of a setup when you were growing up? What was your surroundings? What was child? You don't have to go into specifics of what childhood was like, but a bit of a synopsis of how you got into this healing art and the work you do, great work you're doing now.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I grew up on a council estate, basically on Orchard Park, which is one of the roughest places around in Hull, especially. And it was quite tough. My dad was a foreigner from Thailand, and people didn't understand that back then. A lot of racism, a lot of towards our family, so it was quite hard in that sense growing up and going to school. I always felt like I was kind of the odd one, or a bit different. So straight away I was on the outskirts of groups and stuff, so in a way it set me on a good course, because I was able to dis with that, and to be able to go traveling and go into my own realm of society, of existence, so that was a big helping point. And Mum, she traveled the world for a few years working on boats. My parents met in Israel, so I was listening to all these stories as bedtime stories when I was younger, and this really inspired and got my imagination working while I was sleeping. I would just dream of all these places my mum had told me about. So that was another good one. A lot of trauma growing up. I actually got sexually abused when I was younger, and so I feel like when you go through that trauma, you have gives you a different perspective of life, and you know uh, it gives you a lot of room to grow into the light, let's say. So in a way, I am very grateful for that experience, and it's sad, obviously. I don't want it to happen to anyone, but it happened, and it was a big learning curve for me, and to actually as well, it took me 19 years to tell anyone, and first it was my mother, so it was very, it was just eating away inside. I knew to release it, and when I did, it was beautiful. So yeah, there's been a lot of trauma growing up, and like a lotus flower, it grows in the
Mm.
in the muddiest of waters, let's say. So I kind of see my lotus flower.
Outstanding, brother. And that's straight away I can really feel you're very authentic, and with what you're saying, it is what it is. Your story is your story, and it's sacred, even though there are some traumas throughout your story. It's your journey to how you've which has brought you into the moment of the now. So you getting through those, what was those kind of for those out there, because a lot of people suffer with sexual traumas, we kind of call it the school of not hard knocks growing up, especially for yourself growing up in some area where a lot of more of that happens around the area. So what was it like for you to find that strength and bit of inspiration for everyone to come out of there and then maybe open up about their story of being abused? Because a lot of people sometimes hold back, and I feel one of the hardest things in spirit, the worst things, I call it like soul sickness, is when you're really withdrawing and not telling people what you've gone through, because everyone's story is so important.
Exactly, yeah. Well, you know, the best advice I could say is just releasing it in physical words, you know, because from my own experience, to hold it in, it just doesn't do anything, whether it's abuse, whether it's anger, whether it's just release it, talk to somebody, and you know, you'll be surprised, because I thought, oh, I was weird, I was crazy, you know, because this has happened to me. And as soon as I released it and talked to more people, I realized how normal it is for so many people, and even especially men, bro. Like, I've been around the world and I've shared my story with people, especially about being sexually abused, and it's surprising how many have been through it, you know. They wouldn't have told me if I didn't come and said what I'd been through, you know. So just by sharing your own story, it brings out in everyone, and then we can talk through it, you know. Don't mean we're gonna get healed after one conversation. At least you're starting somewhere. It's stepping stones, you know. So that is the best advice I can give to anyone. And you know, I didn't running away from it, traveling, and you know, smoking a load of weed every day, just trying to, in a way, hide it and mask it. But at the end of the day, we've got to face it sober as well. That's the key as well, to face it in a sober mindset and process it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and
that's the best advice I could give.
Yes. So for me, my obviously not the same stories, different stories, but for me it was the same with I had drug addiction when I was younger, and I kind of went into it at 18, where I basically had a huge breakup, and this caused a huge hole in me where I was trying to find that love or trying to fill this void. And I went on the journey of taking those drugs throughout the years, and I came onto the spiritual practice, and I stopped doing them for a few years, but I still had that trauma within me, and it came back to play 3 years later, until the point got where I had to be open and honest and go, look, I need help. I've got a problem. I'm so scared of telling everyone because I think people are going to think this of me and that of me. And when I figured out moving over from that stage, my life transformed, bro. Like, for me, just saying the truth, yeah, I've done this, I did this, and I went back onto this at one point, and now I was being open and honest. And the more I was open and honest, everything seemed to line up more. I met the right people in my life, so on and so forth. It's inspiring, dude, that you're able to say that, and what you're saying is going to help people with their stories, feeling, oh, I'm a bit ashamed of my story. It's not. It's important to have those spaces for you to let it go and talk about it.
Totally, bro. And I just like to say, if there is anyone that watches this that does want to talk about anything, just drop me a message, or if you're close, we can meet up, no problem. So yeah, I absolutely agree, bro. It's the key in it. And you know, this is, for me, you know, a lot of stuff's happened in my life, and I just see it as the only sense I can make of it is I've got to grow from it and learn from it. And that's the only bit of sense I can make from any of it, because I wasn't in control. No one was in control. It was just what happened, the universe. And, you know, we come here and we're born into this, as the Buddhists say, we're born into trauma and suffering, but it's our job or our path, our dharma, to grow through that and to learn for the collective, not even just for me, because I'm going to go one day, but if the message carries on, then that essence is just passing down, in it, you know. It's that continuous growth of collective. So yeah.
Outstanding. so music wise, so what inspired you to start doing? Because that's how I saw a video of you playing the handpan, and just straight away you could tell there was such a creative flow within you, that it was authentic and true, and yeah, it was beautiful. So if you wanted a bit of a backstory about how you got into doing playing music and going into that sound healing frequency.
Cheers, bro. Appreciate those words. Yeah, well, I kind of got into it in India. I started off with a djembe, which you can see in the back is an African what started me was when I went to India when I was 16 with my mum, and we went for a few months backpacking, and I saw these hippies on the side of the street living and just full of joy, and I was like, I wanna live like that. Why? Like, that's how I know would want to live in a different way. I just saw this and I was like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to have dreadlocks. You know, in a way, it was quite not a superficial thing.
Yeah,
it was like a desire, you know, in the beginning. But then when I started playing it, there was something else was happening on an energetic level, and I was actually. When I started playing drums, something was coming through, and I was just like, "Ooh, I feel this," like, you know. And so I just started off with that. I found a teacher in Goa. He was willing to teach me for about 2 months. Israeli guy called Dov, bless up man. And then I've just carried my drum and put my clothes inside, and I traveled the world for 5 years. With anyone and anywhere I could on the street, busking. And then I came into contact with a handpan in New Zealand about 2.5 years ago. And at this time, I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, Daisy, and she's a yoga teacher. So we started creating events with yoga sound, and it just started going from there. And we ended up playing at festivals in New Zealand and traveling in our van. And then that's brought England about a year ago. And then all last summer, we were traveling most North England and sharing the vibrations. So that's where I'm at now. You know, my songs started coming with a handpan once I started playing that. But before that, it was just full rhythm, you know, for 5 years. But when I got the handpan, some words just started coming, and then songs. And I was like, ooh, this is interesting. So it's just a continuous journey. But yeah, that's where it is at the moment.
Outstanding. So let's talk a little bit about music, and let's break down what music does for us. So from your perspective, what is music, and what is it an expression of? And just, it's always good to hear people's their views and ideas of it.
Sure, yeah. Well, I think language is just, music is just language. It's just something our body interprets and processes, let's say. And a lot of the time it's not with our minds, unless it's, you know, unless we're really thinking about the lyrics, but a lot of the time it's just through our bodies, let's say, the vibrations. And for me, that's really important because it's hitting us on a subconscious level most of the time. And, you know, there is lower vibration music or higher vibration music out there, but a lot of acoustic instruments play into that relaxation, that healing zone. So I love live music, I love instruments, acoustic, anything like that. Really, I think it's just powerful, and yeah, it's a really healing tool that we're only just beginning to understand. And like, even myself, you know, and like, it's just a continuous journey. And I recently found out that the Aboriginal or the original people of Australia were playing didgeridoos on people's bodies 40,000 years ago. So, you know, they already tapped into that thousands of years ago. And I started doing it a few years ago. I didn't really know why. I just did it. I had a feeling, and then I found this out, and I was like, oh, it backs me up a bit more, you know. So music has been used for healing in every culture for thousands of years, and we forgot for maybe a few hundred years, but now I feel like the Western culture society is embracing it again and realizing its potential. And what I like to do with the sound journey is it's not, in a way, it's not me that's healing anyone, you know, they are healing themselves, you are healing yourselves. And all I'm doing is facilitating a space that allows that healing to happen, you know, like, and it's up to the person to be open to accept their own healing or not. And, you know, so I'm not the healer. The healer is you, and the music is also the healer. Is the middleman of the healing, let's say. Yeah.
Outstanding, and that's a great way of explaining it. Would be for the healing to occur for us, it has to be us who make those changes, and that's what I say when I'm doing sessions or any work. People say, "Oh, thank you so much for doing that," but realistically, the idea is that you're the one facilitating that change within yourself to allow yourself to let go of more crap, allow yourself to feel happy, so on and so forth. Let's talk a little bit about what you do then when you come into one of your events. What's the process you go through, and how do you start? Is there anything to get people into that relaxed state, or is there any process you do?
Yeah, so recently I've been working a lot with Joe, who you had on, Joe Crislow, you
Yes.
also had on your show, and we've been co-creating some really cool, special things. So what we'll normally do is we'll kind of get in the space set up before anyone's there, give the area a good smudge of some sage and some Palo Santo, and then we'll sit down, have a little meditation, make sure we're all on the same level, maybe a bit of breath work, maybe even a bit of rapé to center us and get us into the moment. And then when people arrive, we'll just let everybody settle and then go through a meditation and some breath work, because breath work is also sort of a powerful tool that we're only just beginning to realize. And that really just centers and grounds everyone on that same level. And then from there, there's a rough template, which, you know, is the instruments, is the handpan, the gong, the didge, but how we do it and when, it really depends on the people that are in that space and the space itself. So, you know, there's a rough idea. Like I like to say, there's no plans, just ideas. So we've got an idea and the plan makes itself, you know. It's kind of like that, yeah.
No plan. No plan. The no plan. And so have you so Joe's been over in South America before, hasn't he? So with your like the rapé and stuff like that, where was the areas you kind of, you know, all of that teaching, where did that come from? Was it research, or have you gone over and studied that anywhere?
Yeah, well, I actually first saw it about a year ago, and that was when I first met Joe at an organic farm called Arthur's Organics up near us. And I went to volunteer one day. I'd been going for a few months, and Joe was just randomly there. So I saw him getting saved by someone, and first I was a bit like, what's this? This is mad. Like, I've never seen this, you know. I've never been to South America. I've only been a lot of Asia, you know, the other side. Like, whoa. And then after a few months of seeing Joe, I can see how it's affecting him. It's really grounding him, centering the people that are taking it. I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm ready to try this and experience this. I felt it. So it actually came through Joe. And I feel blessed that Joe showed me this way, because it's so important, whatever we're taking inside our bodies, to be guarded in the right way of doing it, you know, and in a respectful way. And Joe really taught me a beautiful way. So big love to Joe out in Colombia doing his Sundance at the moment. So sending your prayers, brother. And yeah, appreciate that, man.
So that in itself, let's talk some of the instruments you use. So if you'd like to just start off with one, then we'll kind of go into them, just to give people listening a bit of information about what instrument you're using and what type of frequencies are happening.
Yeah. So the main one I would say is a handpan, which is this instrument right here. Probably seen it before, most of you, but it's a beautiful mix of a rhythm and melody. You know, you can really tune into heartbeats and stuff and melodize it and mold it into whatever atmosphere is at the moment, or in that studio or in that place, you know. So I really love it because it's really diverse. You can get people moving, or you can really bring it down. So it gives me a lot of scope to create and facilitate certain things. So that's the first one, and I've fallen in love with handpan. Sorry,
how long did it take you to learn and master that? Because It is. I keep seeing them. It must be fairly tricky. It's all with all this. How long did it take to master that, the handpan? How long did you do it for?
I wouldn't say I'm a master yet. I would master. You know, I've been playing it for about 2.5 years now, every day, and just you know, singing with it and doing these sound things. And honestly, like, I'm about 10% of the, it's just a lifelong journey. I really see it as that, you know. It's like, I even put a number because I know I'll never be, well, I'll be good and I'll be happy, but I'll never be where, you know, that master level that's in the cloud somewhere. But yeah, so I've been playing about 2.5 years.
Outstanding, brother. And so moving on, so you play the didge as well.
I play the didge.
I love, so a little bit of information about the didge and what it does.
Yeah, so for me, the didge is really grounding. It's a very like earthing, you know, it's like that essence of earth. Whenever I hear it, just like it really just centers me. And I think that's an important tool in this day and age, with a lot of energies that you know, a lot of anger out there. There's a lot of fear. Energies are all over the place, but in these times we need grounding more than ever. So I've found that using the didge on people has been so powerful, like, because we play it really close to people's bodies, like, you know, an inch away or something. So you really feel the vibes of it. And like I said earlier, finding out the Aboriginals of the originals have been using it for 40,000 years for healing, not even music, it's healing, you know, that was the original thing for it, is very powerful for me. And I feel honored to carry this instrument and share it. So yeah, it's a very powerful instrument.
That's something what actually struck me was when I saw a picture of, I think one of your and Joe's events, was you had the didge right near someone, and I saw that and I spotted it and I was like, what a good idea. Because I've been to events where people have played didgeridoo, and for me the didge, it must be past life DNA memory or something, because the didge really does something for me. When I hear it, it's got a really resonate to it. And for you to then go up to people and be doing that and emitting that sound and changing the dynamics, and they're like alchemizing their aura as well with it, it's really cool. I've not seen that before, and that's great that you've said that they've done it, the indigenous people have done it before. That's really cool.
Yeah, God bless, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful instrument.
Outstanding. And what have you used a djembe as well, do you?
I've got a gong that I normally bring with me, which is here, a beautiful gong, which I mean, all you have to do is listen. It's another, it's another. This one in particular is quite grounding, but like a handpan, you know, there's different melodies, and we have a friend that has about 6 or 7, and man, you can really tune in with the different frequencies and hitting different chakras and playing with that energy with these. And I found with a gong, it's really, in a practical sense, it really helps the journey, because it adds that, it fills the space in the background, let's say, you know, while I'm transitioning, or, you know, there's that continuous soundscape. So it's really helped. It's like a foundation, let's say. Yeah, so it's really helped for that. Yeah, I've only just got that about 3 or 4 months ago, so I'm really still experimenting with it. Yeah.
Outstanding. And so any other instruments you use djembe as well? Anything else?
Yeah, djembe is a heartbeat, and you know, that's a very, you can use it as a heartbeat, as a slow like dum 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 dum, or you can really energize people, you know, and make people dance and move, and that's another reason I love the djembe, because you're these two total opposite sides if you can tune in. So yeah, that's another one. And we use singing bowls and voice. They're the main ones we use. We have some chimes and some bells and stuff, but the main instruments are the handpan, the didgeridoo, the gong, and voice. So yeah.
Beautiful. And so what have you learned from the time of you doing this? What has been your biggest learning about music in itself and for people? Do you have any dances at all? Do you do any dance at all during your events?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing I've learned is probably, like I said before, is that I'm actually just facilitating the space. You know, in a way, in the beginning, I did think I was healing people, let's say, but as more time goes on and you realize that people are receiving and some aren't, but you're doing the same job, it's like, actually, it's not up to me. It's up to these people if they want to, you know. And that was a big realization for me, and then that goes for any type of healing as well. So that was beautiful. And also the power of sound, like, you know, there's been times playing on people's bodies that, you know, people have been full on, you know, convulsing and releasing and screaming and crying. And in the beginning, it was in a way a bit of a shock. I was like, whoa, am I in some sort of like film or something? You know, you see on TV and films and you think that doesn't happen in real life, and then you're doing it on someone and you're like, whoa. And this is totally sober, you know, and that's the power of it, and it's really powerful, you know. And so that there were the biggest realizations of it. And what was the next question? Sorry.
Dance. How does dance correspond with it?
Dance, yes. So, like, normally in the cacao ceremony, because, you know, I'm sure you have also taken cacao, or other people have, and when you take it, you feel energized, don't you? You know, you feel in a way you want to move. So what we do is we'll have some cacao in these sound journeys and create a soundscape. And when we bring the people out of the space, then we'll start with the djembes and start trying to get people moving. Joe, come on with the reggae strums, and, you know, just get people moving for that last bit of the session, and to really release anything else. And it's beautiful to watch, and for myself to express through dance. You know, it's another powerful tool that we don't utilize enough. You know, it's just letting the body flow how it wants to flow, and that in itself is healing, you know. So yeah, I really like dance too.
Yeah, that's it for me. That's what does it. There's so many different things. The variety I do when I do dance, and I fully go into it, and I put quite a bit of energy into dancing. It's really the most state where I would have tears of kind of like happiness, tears of laughter, because you'd go into such a state where you'd forget that you're a male, you'd forget that you're a human, you'd go into kind of like a no time state where you're just a being, an infinite being, and you go into that dream weave, and you forget all your identity of like my work or like bills, shit like that. You're really in this creative flow, and for me, dancing has helped me, and it's something that's on my main list of stuff to do more and more in the future, is to do much more of the dancing. So let's talk about a bit about the cacao. So what's your journey been like that, and the understanding of that for people who are new to it, because it's getting quite a lot of people taking it at the moment. So for those who are listening who haven't, a bit of a synopsis about cacao.
Yeah, so basically I kind of came into contact with the medicine probably while I was traveling in Thailand a good, 5 or 6 years ago. I was a bit of a hippie floating around, just going to different things and experience. I didn't really know what direction, so I was just experiencing, and it was really beautiful. Although a true understanding of it didn't really come until probably this year again. I didn't really facilitate until this year, the cacao, but Joe again brought some dynamic from the Americas, the Central and South American way of doing it, because in Asia it's not indigenous plant really, maybe in Indonesia and stuff, but it's not really used in the same way as the Mexicans, the Aztecs, or the Mayans. So it was really nice to learn more, and I'm still learning, to be honest with you. When we do hold these spaces, it's probably more Joe that will give more of a understanding of the plant and the traditions. So I'm definitely still learning, and I've got the sound, in the background, but Joe's definitely helps with that. But yeah, all I can say is my experience with it, and it's a really beautiful medicine, and it gives you a whole different dynamic on chocolate, man. Like, and how for granted we just take it, eating a bar without really seeing its true essence, which is this energizing, full of nutrients and antioxidants, and a real healing plant. So yeah, it's been blessed to connect this year again with another plant medicine out there.
Outstanding. And so what are your future plans? And so you do events around, you travel quite far around, don't you, to do your events?
Yeah. So I think this year I'll be in England, and you know, kind of doing a tour, let's say, of probably mostly North England. I love it up north. I've fell in love with it like I've never fallen in love with, well, England in my life. So I feel blessed that I can travel and appreciate England for what it is, because for many years, like I say, I ran away. But it kind of kicks off this weekend coming. I'm in Preston and I'm in Manchester doing some sound, and then it's pretty much every weekend after that, bro. Then I'm in Lincolnshire, then I'm in Harrogate. So it's kind of, yeah, it's from there it's rolling. And you know, if anyone does want to follow what we're up to, I've got my Facebook page, so all the stuff's on there. So yeah. There'll be a few festivals too, a few retreats that we're holding. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so what has COVID, I like to ask people who've come on the show, what has COVID taught you? For a lot of people through the last years of being here, we're at a very different time. Just a few words of what COVID has taught you as a person. It's just really nice to hear everyone's opinion.
Yeah, so I guess in one way it didn't really affect me, because for the first part I was in New Zealand, and then for the second part I was in Spain, and then for the third part I've been here the last year. So in a way I haven't seen the full effect of it, but from what I have got from it is, on a personal level, is to really just go for this path, because we've seen how fragile this secure system is, and it's not as fragile, it's not as secure as they make out to be. So in one way it's taught me to be more self-sustaining and just go for this path, this journey, because I know it's true as well. So that was a big one. And another one was the importance of community, man. Like, since this has happened, me and my mum and sister have got so much closer, and the people that are on the same buzz we've got so much closer, and the local the people supporting local businesses I see like has just gone through the roof, and people supporting my own journey through the jewelry. So I've noticed, people are coming together a lot more, and I want to be part of a community summit that's going to go into this future. And, you know, the more we play into this doomsday scenario, let's say, the more it's going to happen. You know, our intention collectively is what creates the future. So whatever we play into, as in give our thoughts and intention to, it's probably going to happen. So for me right now, I'm just focusing on local community and healing as well, because that's the earth I want to see in the future for my kids or my grandkids or for the future kids of anyone, you know. So yeah, I'm just playing into that this new earth kind of template, let's say.
Outstanding, brother. And that's very true. It's that you're learning that for all of us going through this process, and it's hard because COVID, there are obviously some negative things which has happened, but it is a virus sometimes what keeps on giving, because people are realizing that there's only so much that can help. Well, not help you, it's not helping you. The only thing what can help you is within. And all of these lockdowns or anything has given people time to go, am I really happy? Am I really focused? Do I really want to be at this job for the rest of my life? So on and so forth. So like you say, it's so true. For us to be able to have a great future is to outcreate this system, be part of it, knowing that you have to pay your taxes, you have to do this, you have to work, blah, blah, but still not allow it to hold that frequency of holding us and controlling us. But like you're doing is you're outcreating the system, you're creating your own bubble of reality, your own sacred space, and and you're getting closer to your family. So it's great to hear that. And so for your jewelry then, so little before we go and finish the show, what talk a bit about your jewelry and what you do there, because I saw a few pictures of them, really cool.
Sorry, man, there's a little bit of a break.
Is it broken up? Yeah, it's been a bit choppy now and then. The signal's been going in and out throughout. So yeah, the jewelry, going on to the jewelry before we close the show, just a bit about the jewelry and what created you, what inspired you to do that.
Yeah, well, again, I was traveling and I was in Nepal this time, and I met these Israeli guys, and they were showing me the jewelry they'd made out of macrame, which is the weaving. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, well, how did you get into it? And they told me this local guy, Nepali guy that does it. And I went to ask him if he could teach me, and I ended up staying there for probably about a month, just learning and in turn exchanging and supporting his little family that he's growing. So it was really a beautiful exchange of what I could offer and what he could offer. And again, since then, I just traveled with it and started off in the beginning just making stuff for people, like from what I felt, you know, if I just felt like to make someone something, I'd make it, you know, I wouldn't expect anything. And that was the beauty of it in a way, like, because in a way I saw I was doing it for just passion, you know, it was just to do it. So it was a beautiful start. And then what really kicked it off was in New Zealand about 3 years ago. I met a Maori carver, and the Maori are absolutely like amazing artists and powerful people, and really have a big influence on my life. And he invited me to learn whakairo, which is Maori art. Obviously I couldn't, you know, no was just not in the vocabulary at that point. It was just like, yes, I'm off, you know. So I ended up staying in the bush with him and his family for about, on and off for about a year. You know, I would go there and learn not just carving, you know, I would learn all about Maori wairua spirit, you know, and how they live, their traditions. So it was a really powerful experience, but he also really taught me how to be an artist. You know, one thing really stuck out was like, he said to me, you think your art is good now when you're smoking weed, wait until you stop smoking weed and see how powerful your art is. And I was like, well, how could that wait? Because weed has given me so much creativity. Yeah. But then as it got further down the line and shorter to that point where I knew I needed to stop, it didn't give me that creativity anymore. It did the opposite. And I was like, yeah, how is this working? You know, so I really understand, like, he could foresee that, you know, before it even happened. And it really is, once you get to that point and you stop doing the things that block it, you just let it out. It's really powerful. But yeah, that was a big influence. And they really, in New Zealand, the Maori really connect with the taonga, the treasures, the stones. And they believe their jade holds the mana, the essence of each previous owner. So, you know, when anyone ever gets a necklace in New Zealand, it's always blessed, you know, every time it's blessed. And people are really conscious there, not just the Maori, the Kiwi people too. They've really embraced that. And I got a lot of inspiration from that, and how to feel a stone, how to communicate with it, how to put my intention into it. So yeah, Petara, blessings, brother. I'm sure you're up there looking down, so big love for that. Yeah, Aroha nui.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've really enjoyed it. There's an authentic presence and that really good flow there. It's inspiring to see, especially another brother when I see it on Facebook, because if I'm being brutally honest, there's a majority on the spiritual journey, it's majority ladies. So when the gentleman, and this could be a topic for another time, but I've seen sometimes, myself included, it's happened before, where I found it hard to speak. And men, when they grow up in an environment where their father doesn't really talk, and that's passed down. So it's inspiring to see you on your journey and yes, and spreading your knowledge, spreading your light, brother. I appreciate you. And so how can people get a hold of you, and what's the next event coming up for you people can get onto?
So how you can get, well, blessings, thanks for having me, brother. And you know, like you say, it's beautiful to have brothers on this journey, and it feels like you're not alone, doesn't it? So
yeah,
it's really,
there we go.
I feel blessed. I'm sure we'll meet one day in person. I'd love to. And
yeah, definitely. And I'll
definitely.
come over to Hull. If you do an event in Hull or around the area, I'll definitely come on to one of those. I'm there, so we'll get to meet.
Yeah, man. Cool. And how people can find me is on Facebook is Arachai, Arachai, and then macrame and jewelry. And also on Instagram at Arachai Haorang, which is my name. They're probably the best ways to find me at the moment. And yeah, the next event is we've got a private corporate gig in Manchester, Sound Journey, which is another beautiful realization that these corporate businesses are actually getting people in to facilitate these spaces, because it's, you know, I you know, before I was against the system and everything, but actually we need a system, and the best way is to just rearrange the system. We don't need to tear it down and have anarchy. We just rearrange the little parts. There's only a few bad apples in there, you know. The most people are working in system genuinely want to help people. So, you know, it's beautiful to see that. So that's our next gig in Manchester. And then on the Saturday, we have a cacao ceremony in Preston at Cotton Community Centre. So yeah, you can find us there and message me if anyone's interested.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, man. And thank you everyone for watching the show. I'll be back tomorrow actually for the next Healers Meet. And yeah, I look forward to meeting you, bro. You have a great day. Thank you so much.
Cheers, bro. I've actually, if you want, bro, I've got a song for you.
A song? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Time, bro.
Yeah,
I've got the handpan ready. So
beautiful, man. Thank you.
No worries, bro. This one's called People Power.
Beautiful.
Up your mind and forget the hour. Less of the thinking and more of the flowing. Follow your heart, it's forever knowing. So let's come together and create a new vibe. Let's come together and create a new tribe. 'Cause we are the people of the light, manifested in these times. We are the people of the light, ain't going down without no fight. We are the people of the light, manifested in these times. We are the people of the light, ain't going down without no fight. 'Cause I know we can be high when shit's getting tough, and I know we can be high when it's all too much. But the way I see is we're all gonna die, all gonna go, so why not try? Oh, try for the children, try for the trees, try for the ocean, yes, and plant those seeds. Try for the children and try for the trees. Try for the ocean, yes, and plant those seeds. So I'm gonna share these rhymes with you, and I'm gonna share these gifts. I'm gonna share my love with you and see how this thing shifts. 'Cause collectively we create our reality, not the powers that be. So get up, stand up and share your light. Get up, stand up, you know what's right. Get up, stand up and share your light. Get up, stand up, you know what's right. To you people,
Outstanding. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I'd love to see it live as well. I'll definitely be coming to see you. So thank you again, brother. You have a great day, and thank you everyone for watching the show.
Much love, brother. Have a beautiful day.
Much love. Bless you, bro. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.